This guide will show you the general locations for all 27 permanently missable enemies in Final Fantasy IV. The puppet is an enemy that can only be found in the Tower of Zot, which is a one-time location. It will most likely spawn on the second floor. The Sorceress is also exclusively encountered in the Tower of Zot. You will most likely find it on the 4th floor of the dungeon. The Black Knight is also exclusive to the Tower of Zot. It spawns most frequently on the 2nd floor. The Centaur Knight is another enemy that can be fought in the Tower of Zot. You will most likely encounter it on the 1st floor. The Gremlin can only be found in the Tower of Zot. It appears most often on the 2nd floor. The Soldieress only appears in the Tower of Zot. It spawns most frequently on the 3rd and 4th floor. The Puppeteer is another enemy that you can find in the Tower of Zot. If you miss the enemy in this location, then you may be able to find it later in the Tower of Babel, which is another one-time dungeon. The ice lizard exclusively resides in the Tower of Zot. You will most likely find it on the second floor. You will also find the cold beast in the Tower of Zot. It appears most frequently on the first floor. The Hell Turtle is the last of the exclusive enemies in Tower of Zot. You will most likely encounter it on the first floor of the dungeon. The Naga can only be found in the underworld version of Tower of Babel. You should find it in a treasure chest found in the northeast room on the fourth floor. Otherwise, it is a rare random encounter in the area. For Naga to appear, you have to get the security eye to summon it. The Evil Doll is an exclusive enemy in the underworld version of Tower of Babel. You will most likely encounter it on the first or second floor. The Fiery Knight is another enemy that can only be fought in the underworld version of Tower of Babel. It appears most frequently on the first two floors. The Chimera also appears exclusively in the underworld version of Tower of Babel. You will need to get the security eye to spawn the Chimera on the 4th, 5th, or 6th floors. The Sorcerer can only be fought in the overworld version of the Tower of Babel, which is another one-time dungeon. It should appear on all floors. You should also find the Ghost Knight in the overworld version of the Tower of Babel. This enemy should appear on all floors. The Lamia Matriarch is found in the overworld version of the Tower of Babel, after you defeat the boss and drop down below to the underworld version of the tower. You will most likely encounter this enemy on the 7th floor. The Grudger is an exclusive enemy in the overworld version of the Tower of Babel. It can spawn on any floor. The Security Eye is another enemy that can only be found in the overworld version of the Tower of Babel. You should find these when opening some of the chests in the dungeon. The Mythril Golem can also be encountered in the overworld version of the Tower of Babel, after you beat the boss and drop down below to the underworld version of the tower. It appears most frequently in the room you drop down to. The Beamer is an enemy that you can commonly encounter in the Giant of Babel, which is a one-time only dungeon. You should also encounter the Centaurion frequently in the Giant of Babel. Another common enemy that can only be found in the Giant of Babel is the Mech soldier. The Searcher is also exclusive to the Giant of Babel. You can find this enemy in chests and random encounters. The last arm can only be found in the Giant of Babel. You can fight it after opening the chest in the inner path of the giant area. The giant soldier is exclusively found in the Giant of Babel. You should be able to encounter one while exploring one of the upper floors. The Mech dragon is the rarest encounter in the Giant of Babel. You can only find it in the stairwell of the giant area. If this video helped you out, then you can support this channel by clicking on the like button.